the anger in Logan has reported from the border many, many times. She's the host of Lara, Logan Has No Agenda on Fox Nation. Lara, you hear the anger in Governor Abbott's voice. He's trying to run his state as the governor. It's being literally overrun at that border. The Border Patrol agents don't have enough people, enough resources to prevent this huge flood from coming across. I guess they were able to get a little bit of it under control after thousands of people crossed that border. But reaching out to President Biden, Governor Abbott, and hearing not even a response, didn't pick up the phone to talk to him about what's going on.
Well, some of that is Governor Abbott's fault, Martha, because this has been going on from day one of the administration. Before they even took office, they were preparing for this. You know, this administration had Susan Rice and Jake Sullivan. They were out there on Spanish language media telling everybody about the great new open American border. And that message has been received loud and clear, as we're seeing. And Governor Abbott has done a lot, but there's a lot he hasn't done. And one of the reasons he's so concerned now is that he was briefed today, as your reporter, by the way, did a fabulous job there. I mean, really great reporting. But one of the things that he didn't tell you about was that the agents briefed the governor that there's 240 miles of the southern border that is completely and utterly unprotected. And you are so right. In your intro, you mentioned that, you know, everyone in the world knows this, right? So our adversaries and terrorists and anyone. And when you consider that the U.S. just put a terrorist superstate in power in Afghanistan, you know, those things are seen together. We may have them separated for us as Americans. They don't want us to connect those dots. And, you know, unfortunately, they've been so successful in trying to divide this country that you have millions of people who won't be watching your show, who are only going to watch, you know, the networks or read the New York Times, and they're not going to have any idea what the truth really is. And that only serves the people who are standing up there pretending that there's no crisis on the border from day one. Everything you see here, we know is happening before it happens. Right now, there is some 30,000 more Haitians that are coming through the Darien Gap that are heading for that border. That comes from law enforcement and intelligence sources who are watching those people gather and move to the southern border. So everything you're seeing at Del Rio, that was, you know, this administration knew that was happening long before it got to this point. Yeah. They also know that those people are dispersing now. They know that there are hundreds and hundreds of Haitians who have run away from under the Del Rio Bridge, right? And have just disappeared into the countryside. They know also that everywhere that there's been a mass migration of illegal immigrants, there's been a spike in COVID cases in this country. And, you know, bioweapons specialists and intel agents tell me that that's, you know, typical of how you would disperse a virus if you were doing something like a virus bomb or a virus attack in your own country or on another country. So those are questions that we don't even get a chance to ask, because we're still arguing with this administration about whether or not there's a crisis. And you've got people saying it's under control when, you know, it's like watching peaceful protests, right, with fires behind you and people saying these are mostly peaceful protests. The message here and the strategy is, don't believe what you see and what you hear. Go into this virtual world or this stage-managed world where Google and Facebook and everyone, they control what you see and hear about the virus, about the border, about, you know, critical race theory. You mention it, right? And it's all strictly controlled. And I've had people from New York, people I've known forever, tell me, I can't believe they're arresting teachers in Texas for critical race theory, for teaching slavery in the schools. And I say, what are you talking about? I live in Texas. I help my kids with their homework. They've been teaching slavery in the schools in Texas for decades. Why would you believe that? But this is the nonsense that people are feeding. It's the result of dividing our society. And we have no southern border right now. We have had no southern border since this administration won the election. Yeah. And no one is talking about the national security implications of that, which is an absolute catastrophe, because at the same time, they won't bring Afghans across who are not vetted, and yet they've just got the southern border wide open. Those two things don't make sense when put together. And it's time that we stop living in fear and ask those questions.